Sgt Thomas Hunter was shot in the spine at Pozieres. He was partially paralysed and brought to England for treatment. He was put on a train from the south to go to a hospital in Halifax in the north. However, on the train his condition deteriorated and the train was stopped at Peterborough, and he was then transferred to the hospital, which is now the museum. A short while later he died. Word got out of this soldier's death in Peterborough. The people of the city connected with this soldier all alone. Many of them had loved ones away on the battlefront. They brought flowers to the hospital where he lay. At his funeral, a horse-drawn carriage carried his body through the streets of Peterborough. Peterborough stopped, and all that could be heard was the women wailing in the street, the tolling of the bell, and the march of military boots. He was buried in Broadway Cemetery, surrounded by hundreds of people who came to support this man so far from home, the Lonely Anzac. I can't imagine now not creating World War I commemoration art. I don't want to imagine a world where we don't remember these men and women who gave their lives for us. They created the foundation for the modern world. The Sky of Poppies has been created by many members of the public joining us for workshops to make poppies, and we've made over 1,000 felted poppies for it. Somewhere, when you look up, there is the Anzac poppy. That's the poppy for Thomas Hunter. I was commissioned by Peterborough City Council to create an artwork that would commemorate the centenary of the death of Sgt Thomas Hunter, also known as the Lonely Anzac. The piece of art that we've created has been funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. The blanket for Sgt Thomas Hunter has been created by people from the local community with myself and artisan felter Eve Marshall, who I've worked with on a number of projects before. The blanket tells the story of the Lonely Anzac. It shows the map of Pozieres where he was injured, then his train journey. It shows his funeral where the people of Peterborough stopped and lined the streets. This is the cemetery, Broadway Cemetery, where he's buried, and then surrounding all the centrepiece are poppies and flags from the First World War made by people and children in Peterborough. With Hope, a miner from County Durham, England, dug new roots in a country of waltzing Matildas and golden sand. The northeast tongue that named him Thomas Hunter sounded back to front in this land of down under. He planted in its soil of red sunsets, blue mountains and koala bears, far from the mud of crowned kings, cream teas and putting on airs. In the golden days of cricket matches and summers of peace, Europe's ruling cousins greedily cut it all apart, piece by piece. It must have seemed like an echo to Thomas, a whispered threat, that spread over the seas, countries and hearts of man in sad regret. He could have silenced the army's drafting call, ignored the empire. Instead he became an Anzac, swapping Broken Hill for Crossfire. There was training for him in the land of the lotus flowers and pharaohs. Then 1914, the trenches were piled deep and nothing but the dead would grow. What home did Thomas wish for when Gallipoli was on his horizon? Men around him cut like wheat, a bloody harvest that kept rising. The sounds of gunshots tore a new song, accompanied by shrill, blasting gas bombs. Amongst the destroying music he must have hoped for a lullaby when he landed in the Somme. 2 years of fighting, now warfare soil filled his veins. He had seen too many dead men in too many lost and ruptured terrains. The first day of the Somme, the colours were black, green and red, when the bullet hit his spine, shattering bone and his mind from his legs. He glimpsed 1,000 poppies waving as he was put on that hospital train, the sapphire blue of his home flower spring gentian that beckoned him again. Unplanned, his wounds would not wait. Doctors brought him to the next place. Unexpected, Peterborough took Thomas in its embrace. The native pasque-flowers tended him, tried to bring him back to life. All the flowers bowed when Thomas's heart wilted away on the 31st of July. This strange plant of a man who had travelled around the world was not to be lost. The city of 1,000 became his family, and they seeded him with forget-me-nots. His story, the lonely soldier so far from his home, touched the heart in every breast. As his hearse passed, they lined the streets, closed shops to say thanks and to bless. Plaques were created, Celtic crosses made for him and paid by people's charity. They thanked him in countless reeds, posies and lines of honourable poetry. For 100 years, the city who still holds his final dream and keeps its solemn bond of thanks. They say you can take a man and plant him anywhere. They say you can make peace after recent gunfire. With British pride in British soil, amidst our own dear dead, we laid him, freed from warrior's toil, in a true warrior's bed. His tomb, as long as it shall stand, shall keep alive his worth, and link this spot of motherland with those who sent him forth.